Welcome back to another episode of On the Bench with Beaks. I am your humble host, Cody Beekman, and welcome to episode number 40. Yes, I said 40. With me, as always, is Daniel Beatty,
Hey guys, how's it going?
Bryce McMillan,
How's it going, everybody?
and I got Ross Moormeyer.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Today, we've got an incredible show lined up for you. We've got the ambassador of hashtag Lift the Mask, trainer out of California, Cali. Cali, say what's going on.
What's up, everybody?
Thank you so much for being on the show. We are so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm psyched.
Oh, heck yeah. So we're going to get into it with a little bit of Hockey Day in history. You know what? I'm going to pull a name out of that hat real quick. Oh, it's going to be Bryce McMillan. Bryce, start us off with Hockey Day in history.
Hey, thank you very much. So look, I'm gonna connect this to me a little bit. I'm a rookie on this podcast, and my name is Bryce. So I'm gonna say this: rookie Bryce Salvador on this date in history, December 10th, 2000, scored his first career NHL goal as the St. Louis Blues tied a team record with their seventh consecutive victory with the win over the 6-1 Chicago Blackhawks.
I like that one.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
connected to me somehow. I mean, look at it, and it was also a really good day in history. December 10th, 2000. A 6-1 win over Chicago. I'll take that anytime because I don't like Chicago.
Wait a minute. I just got to clarify something. Your name's Bryce?
Yeah, with
No.
the Y, but with the Y, by the way.
Well, that's a
Not
major
like Bert
difference.
ICE would be kind of cool, but yeah, sorry.
All
It's
right,
shrimp fried rice.
Shrimp fried Bryce, yeah.
Or
All right.
fresh. I like fresh and bonied Bryce.
There you go. All right, Daniel, what do you got for Hockey Day?
My favorite player, I have been avoid throwing him on the history because it's too easy, but I just like this one. I think it's gonna be fun. So it's about Wayne Gretzky, and it was on December 10, 1986, which tied to me as my birth year. There, I dated myself. And
Yeah.
we've got Wayne Gretzky scoring 3 goals in a 7-4 Edmonton Oilers victory over the Winnipeg Jets. And this is Wayne Gretzky's 40th career hat trick. And
Jesus.
I'm kind of curious, guess how old he is at this point?
35.
25.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god.
He's done more at 25 than I'd ever accomplished at 25
Yeah.
in my.
So this same day, 3 years later, he tallied his 1,900th point in only his 803rd game. So it's just crazy. All the stats on him are just nuts.
I mean, that's why they call him the Great One, honestly.
Yep.
Ross, what do you got there, bud?
Well, I got something coming from December 11th, 2003. Tampa Bay Lightning's Dave Andreychuk scored a goal and also became the NHL's all-time leader in games played by a left wing when he appeared in the 1,541st game of his career. Unfortunately, they lost 3-2 versus the Ottawa Senators that day.
Ah, beautiful. All right, I'll round this one off real quick, and then we can get a moving here. December 12th, 1999, Patrick Wall won his 424th game to pass Tony Esposito for the third place on the all-time list. And anyone want to venture to guess who scored the overtime goal?
Oh, God.
Oh, what year is this?
1999. I'll give you a hint. He was on our podcast once.
Oh, hey, Duke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Milan Hibbing scores
Nice.
with 1 minute and 36 seconds of overtime.
That guy had a lot of game-winning goals too.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so let's move it on. Cali, thank you so much again for being on our podcast. We got a lot to talk about. So, if you haven't listened to our podcast before, we like to discover all interesting new perspectives of ice hockey. So, let's start with background. A, how'd you get into hockey, and B, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in Northern California, Truckee, California, actually, which is just outside of Tahoe, but nobody knows where it is. So normally you have to say where the Donner Party ate each other.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, I grew up in a place that was known for cannibalism, I guess. I don't know. So, we had frozen ponds and frozen lakes. So I started skating pretty young. Um, and then I got into skiing and snowboarding around 2. And then, the Mighty Ducks came around and it made hockey that much cooler. So a lot more rinks down where I was opened up so we could actually like start to play and like learn how to play. So, yeah, and then I ended up wanting to play really bad, but my mom was like, "You have to choose a sport." And at the time, I was an avid snowboarder. Um, I was semi-pro at that time, so I decided that I'd rather make more money by snowboarding.
Nice.
Because chick hockey players weren't making very much at that time. Because I have to date myself because I'm older too. So, um, Uh, so then I ended up getting a bunch of concussions at before the age of 16 and had to quit snowboarding completely. I still do it now, but definitely not professionally or competitively anymore. I was a big park rider, so I hit rails and stuff. And back then, you didn't have to wear a helmet, so it was kind of like only kooks wore helmets back then. So it was a little different. And then I ended up getting into radio and I fell in love with it and wanted to be an MTV VJ so bad. That was
Nice.
that was what I wanted so bad. And then
Did
MTV
you do one
died.
of the audition tapes? Because they always did those contests, I remember.
I did, and I was
Nice.
gonna be on the next season, and then they ended up not doing it.
No, you got so close.
I know.
Really?
It was so sad. It was devastating. So then I ended up finding that I was good at being a trainer after many, many years of hating working out in the gym and hating my own body. So then I finally found fitness. I found weightlifting and I became a power lifter. And that changed my whole outlook on fitness and life in general. I really like pushing my body to the limit, as pornographic as that sounds.
Hey, we all like to push our bodies to the limit every now and then. Normally, for me, it's drinking as much vodka as I can possibly drink in one night. But hey, working out is another way to go about it.
I mean, everybody's got their things for sure.
Yeah.
I
Gluttons
mean,
for
I'm pretty
punishment.
heavily tattooed, so I mean, I definitely enjoy pain. So, I think anything I can do to get my body. I mean, it's the endorphins, it's the rush, right? We all enjoy that. That's why we all play hockey. Um, it's
Oh,
that
no doubt.
setting your soul on fire type of feeling.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Bryce, I know you got some questions that you want to ask her. What you got there, bud?
Oh yeah, just hearing, everything you just kind of said just now. A lot of it's awesome, a lot of it's crazy. And I think a crazy thing is being a goalie, right? Being a goalie is one of the craziest things I've literally ever seen someone do. Like the idea of having somebody shoot a puck that's over 100 plus miles an hour at you and taking that is kind of crazy. And there's a lot of I think physical involvement with that, and I think there's a lot of mental involvement with that. So just tell me a little bit about why you wanted to be a goalie in the first place.
Actually, that's how I met a bunch of my friends. Is we all got into the Ducks have the goals down here, and the goals have a learn to play for adults that's free, and they have it for kids too. So all of us started learning how to play. You have 3 days on the ice. They teach you like basic start stop, and that's pretty much it. And then you learn how to scrimmage, and then you're just on a team.
Huh.
Um, so we all got into it that way, and I ended up being one of the better skaters because I've been skating since I was younger. And then, so it just turned out that they were like, if you want to try being a goalie, you have to be one of the better skaters in order to be a goalie. So I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. And then I got in goal, and I met my first goalie coach, and I fell in love with it. I finally felt home, and like where I could just let my freak flag fly, as they say.
Mhm.
I just, I mean, I played goalie as a kid in soccer, so I think I've always had like that screw loose in order to be a goalie.
Right.
Um, but for some reason, I feel safer in goal than I do skating out. But it sounds weird, but in my head, I feel safer.
And you just said that being a goalie is like one of the important parts of the game in terms of skating. Would you mind elaborating on that just a little bit on the skating piece of that? Why it's so important as a goalie?
Yeah. So as a goalie, I mean, you have to know your edges. You have to be able to, for lack of a better term, get your ass back in the crease as fast as possible. But you also have to have enough peripherals and edges in order to get back there. For sure.
Right.
It's definitely we call it a man maker where I live because we do pickup games that are an hour and a half to 2 hours long. So, you're just getting hammered the whole time. So it's really like who can actually withstand this? Because, it's not like you get 15 minutes of play and then a break. Like it's like they're you're playing against better players normally.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, especially in pickup games, I mean, you have no idea how long you're going to be out there anyway. So, and I mean, it's not like just like you said, you can, switch out for a little bit and say, oh yeah, I can take a breather. Like yeah, you goalies are out there the entire time just getting a barrage of pucks all day.
Yeah.
Cali,
And go
I
ahead.
I imagine from your background, being semi-pro in snowboarding, and there's a competitive edge there to go with that screw loose attitude that you have to have. And I'm sure what you were talking about with skating, also from being a skier myself and playing hockey, I recognize and appreciate just growing up on the slopes to be able to have some kind of like lower body balance and translation of what edges even are to help me get accustomed to hockey when I got into it. But I also know that you're, despite like that intensity and the grueling aspect of it, you like to take things zen and relax. And, part of getting prepared for the next game of battle is to be relaxed and mentally relaxed. So, how do you prepare for when you're playing?
This all comes back to after I had been told that if I continued life the way that I was, that I was going to either die or be paralyzed. So my original doctor had told me that I should look into yoga. And at the time, at being 16, I was like, this is dumb. Because I've always been a tomboy and I always want to keep up with the boys. Like that's just been my thing since I've been super young. Uh, I don't know. That's probably
Hmm.
part of the screw that's loose too. I don't know. But I went to my first yoga class and I was like, this is fucking stupid. And like I couldn't handle the way the lady was talking. So finally I ended up finding a male instructor who was a snowboarder friend of mine. And he taught me a different way. And that's kind of what because I've become a yoga instructor myself, um, I taught myself new ways to think about it. And I've brought that to my clients and to my teammates. So really it's all about meditation and becoming, getting out of your own head. And I think that that's the best thing that I like about playing hockey and being a goalie is like getting out on the ice. Like I literally get to forget all of the things that are going on in my life. I get to forget about if I'm the prettiest girl on the ice. I get to forget about like, oh, does my makeup look good? Like I don't wear makeup, but stuff like that. Like, like I don't have to worry about any of that. All I have to worry about is that play at that time and just stopping pucks. Like it's kind of nice.
So even in that, I mean, it's almost like it's when you're in net, it's almost like your own another version of meditation.
Yeah. I consider it my brain off time, because really I don't have to think about anything else that's going on in my life. I have to focus on what's going on in that minute to 2 minutes, to those 15 minutes that I'm in the net. That's all I can think about, right? So I get to shut off my brain.
Yeah, I think all of us can agree as well. Like hopping out on the ice really does make so much. I mean, is just a whole nother world, a whole nother universe that we all can kind of like fly off into, to just like you said, kind of throw all that other, maybe um just other shit that in life aside for at least like an hour or two.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's almost like riding a bike for the first time or just being able to just glide as a superpower almost. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, and Callie, I want to kind of ask you, like, you're talking about like doing the yoga and, getting that mental aspect, like, in your game. Like, what do you do to kind of prep yourself, like, physically and mentally, just yourself? Because as we all know, goalies have a few screws loose in their head, as you just said. But they have their own, like, little weird quirks that they have before the game, mentally and physically, that they have to do. And I was wondering what yours were.
I mean, mobility, I think all goalies and all in, trainers, instructors, whatever, like Maria Mountain, who's one of the bigger ones for goalie training, she agrees that mobility and being mobile before you even hit the ice is one of the most important things. So normally I have a stretching routine that I do before and after bed, like before bed and in the morning, just to make sure that my body is, performing correctly. Just because I've had injuries. So that's always a big one on the ice. It's always, it's always stretch, like you do a couple laps first and then get the muscles warm and then it's stretching. I'd rather stretch for me than take shots, just because I'd rather make sure that my body's feeling good before I even need to take shots. But like, I know that taking shots is important, but if I'm in a pinch for time, that's definitely one of the bigger ones. Um, I think we all have weird shit though. Like I have to put on my right side first. Um, I tape the toe of my stick. Like I tape the toe of my stick and then do heel to toe. Like that's been a big question that's been asked a lot. Is that there's a lot of weird goalies that do toe to heel tape jobs. So I think it's just we're weird and it's fine.
That's absolutely hilarious that you put on right to left. I used to put on left to right. That's
Me
actually kind of
too.
cool to hear because I don't know. It was always a thing for me. It's always left skate, right skate, or even left leg first in the jock. I mean, it was that down to a science for me. So I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only like kind of weird one. So that's awesome. I really dig that. So there's style wise, where I've heard you've got like a bit of a like an interesting goalie style. Can you kind of take us through like where you learned it, like what kind of your styles like?
Uh, well, so I only played for one day as a goalie before I ended up deciding that I wanted to be a goalie. So I signed up with I found a coach, who he's the teeniest little guy, but he is so fast and so good at what he does that he makes up for his size with his speed. Um, he just taught me how to he taught me butterflies and T pushes and just made it abundantly clear that because we're little, we have to be that much faster and that much quicker. Like we can't rely on our size and just flopping on the puck in order to be an adequate goalie. So it's been a lot of learning, should I say, to know when to butterfly, know when to push, know when you need to T push, know when, all that stuff has become it's become second nature, but it definitely took time to get there. So I would definitely say that I am a more logical goalie because I can't rely on my size.
Yeah, kind of like like a Darren Pang or a Dominic Hasek. But I mean, nobody's style is really going to be like Dominic Hasek. But I mean,
No.
you look back at Darren Pang playing. I mean, he's a small guy, but I mean, he was still well versed in the net.
Yeah.
Do you think that just because you're a smaller person, do you think that actually made you a bit better of a goalie to maybe have to maybe learn a little bit more things that a bigger goalie wouldn't really necessarily have to rely on?
Oh, 100%. I feel like really I had to dive in hard that I didn't realize. Like a lot of my friends, they go once in a while where if there's ice time, I'm there and I'm taking shots or I bring my own cones and I'm practicing myself and practicing because I am I'm a 5'4" girl with a 26-inch seam. Like I have teeny tiny legs, so I have to work twice as hard. I have to I mean, I've done a bunch of classes and training camps with, 10 and under little kids and just because I'm I got to get better. So
Oh, that's great. That's
That's
awesome
great.
because I mean, yeah, you get to learn more stuff and you have more tricks you can pull out in a pinch. So I think that's great.
I agree with that 100%. And I just want to ask you, just for the goalies and our listeners who are goalies that are listening right now, are there any specific exercises or stretches you do before practices or games that will give
oh,
benefit to any goalies listening right now? But also, is there a mental health side to this? As a goalie, you take a lot of dependence on teammates, but what happens when you happen to let go that big goal or you have that moment before a big game? What do you go through mentally to help you prepare for games?
oh yeah. The biggest one for stretching is our adductors or our groin muscles tend to get pulled a lot more because we're straining them. So I always suggest a good, groin stretch. They call it a frog in yoga, but I call it a stripper stretch because your feet are out to the side and your ass is up in the air. I mean, you see all the goalies do it.
It's
It's
like you're
one of the better
twerking.
ones. Yeah. Your feet are spread out as far as you can go. It just makes your butt flare up so it can look kind of hookery or strippery, I should say.
Victory.
That one's always a good one. I definitely am a strong believer in anything pigeon pose. I think that it's great for everybody. It's just getting your legs more mobile and moving. It's getting that fluid into your tendons and stuff that it's so important, because that's what happens when we hyperextend stuff, is it wasn't prepared for it. So those are always great ones. I always suggest like some sort of warm up, like butt kicks or something, just to warm your muscles up before you put yourself in your pads. Um, running into the rink if you're late, I don't know.
What about the mental? What about the mental piece of the game, being a goalie?
Mentally, I am already a perfectionist and super competitive. So anytime a goal goes into, I miss a goal or any of that, like I definitely punish myself. It's definitely one of those I think most goalies do. But then I had my trainer Dave, who is from Toronto. He came down and he did a camp, and it was one of those ones with the little kids, and he beat it into us that like whatever happens on the ice, you have to let it go all the time. Like he gave us tons of like, it's going to sound silly, but like affirmations that like, like I am better than this game. Like stuff like that, just so that you can turn off your brain right away. Because you're going to fuck up the rest of the game if you keep dwelling on the ones that you missed. Right. So like Gretzky says, you're going to miss 100% of the goals you never shoot. Right. And goalies are going to miss 100% of goals that they're thinking about that they already lost.
Exactly.
Oh
I
yeah, that's
agree with
great.
that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you touched on Gretzky there a second, and he is my favorite player, as mentioned. And I understand that you had a bump in with the guy at one time. Is that true? And if so, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah. So, growing up in Tahoe, a lot of you tend to run into a lot of hockey players. It seems to be a vacation destination, even in the winter. I used to always go singles when I was snowboarding or skiing as a kid, just because it was easier for me and my parents to go snowboard or skiing or snowboarding together. So it helps you get up the lift faster. So one day I was single by myself, and there was a family um, on the chairlift already. And so I just sat down next to him, and like, I was young. So I had no idea. So I was just sitting on the chairlift, and he started talking to me, and he had a Canadian accent, and I was just blown away. And I just, because the questions he was asking me, and it was just like he asked me how long I had been skiing, but like it was just like it was a accent that I hadn't heard before. So I was just like dumbfounded by it. And then I got off the chairlift, and my dad was already waiting for me, and he looks at me, and he is just like, that is the greatest hockey player of all time. And he's just like, you need to know who he is. Like
You need to understand what just happened to you.
yeah, he's like, you just had the best experience that nobody else is gonna ever get to have, and you just were nonchalant about it.
Basically
that's
touched
great.
by an angel. It's beautiful.
It's just, like you realize only like about like 5 million Canadians would probably just be elated to be in that spot right at that moment, and you're just like, yeah, he's a nice Canadian guy. It's all good.
I like the idea that Gretzky is sitting there looking at this little girl who's looking back at him with this like face of awe, but it's actually just because of an accent she hasn't heard before, not because he's the most famous hockey player of all time. So
Oh, I love it.
And then it was like we ended up seeing him later on, and like in like the lodge or whatever, and it was just like everybody was crowding around, like, like I feel like it was a different time also when I was younger. Like for us, it was just hockey wasn't as big then. So it was also like he had like maybe 5 or 10 people like trying to get like an autograph, where now like, people would be stalking him the whole time.
yeah, that's
Oh
one of
yeah,
the biggest differences about growing up and seeing your idols like still before social media, there was no way for someone to tweet out that they were there. So it was only
Yeah.
going to be those people that were going to have that experience. So it was like bonded for life through that. Hey, were you at the chalet in Tahoe back in '93 when we ran into the Great One?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I met you back there. I don't know if you know it, but I know it.
Who's Gretz? Oh, you mean Wayne? Yeah, we know Wayne. Yeah, we go skiing
Yeah.
with him in Tahoe.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that
we're
guy.
friendly. We're friendly. So no, that's
We're
awesome.
lift buddies.
Yeah, we're live buddies. But no, you're right. Definitely. Well, back then, I mean, was this pre Mighty Ducks or post Mighty Ducks?
It was pre Mighty Ducks.
Oh yeah. So you're definitely like
So-
you're talking like Northern California. I mean,
He's
you
probably
gotta
playing for the Kings at that time.
probably just then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Russ.
I'm not impressed. They're the Kings. Whatever.
He's a Ducks fan, so it's
Yeah.
not gonna get anything Kings is not gonna go over well with him.
No,
Same
the
with
only
me.
thing, only thing Kings that I have is a Burger King jersey, and I'm not even going to don that thing on my body. I'm upset that I even have it in my closet, but I still have one. But no, just even getting into the goalie position, what is kind of like the players that you like to watch in the NHL and even in like the women's league, even like the women's Olympic team and stuff like that? What are your favorite players to watch on the women's side and even like the professionals?
Shannon Zabatos is probably she's like the GOAT for all women goalies, I feel like.
Oh no, she's up there. Yeah, I'll agree to that.
Yeah, I was going to say you're probably not wrong.
I've been watching her for a long time, and like I actually was going to go see her playing on was it the Buttes? One of the minor league hockey teams, but that she was like one of the first female goalies on. It was just cool to have her break through that, because like when I was a kid, like even snowboarding, like it was unheard of to have girls even be any good, like we were still not making it into the X Games on our own. Like, so it's just cool to see girls just breaking shit like that. And she's just fucking good. She's a nightmare. But for NHL goalies, I think I just like to watch all of them. They all have their quirks and weird shit. But like everybody has different things. Like for me, like I am definitely a Sharks fan, and we have had excellent goalies, and then we've had not so great ones. And but like
Agreed.
but like Urbe was fun to watch, and Nabby was amazing to watch. And nowadays, like as much as I fucking loathe them, sorry, Molly, the Ducks, but Miller is incredible to watch. And Gibson has been one of the more fun ones because he's a strategic player. Where like for me, like Quick, who I fucking loathe, but he is he's an aggressive goalie, and it is cool to watch him get so far out of, like, he makes impressive saves because he's so aggressive. Like, it's not because it's normally because he's out of place is the reason why he has to make these incredible saves, because he plays so far out of the crease that normally he has to haul ass to get back. So that's why he makes incredible saves. And that's normally what people see are the people that make the incredible saves more than the people that are just fucking good at the game, Like, Fleury is just good at the game, and I fucking hate it.
It's easier to like him when he wasn't playing for Vegas, right?
No, because he took us out as a Penguin, so it's just all bad.
That's right. All right. So, what do you think of the goaltending now? I mean, you guys just acquired Devin Dubnyk. What's your scouting report on the
Oh,
Dubs?
that's true.
I am hopeful. um, it's definitely not getting Staylock back, which breaks my heart. But I think he's an aggressive player, and I think that he definitely has more of a want to win than Jones does. So we'll see how it goes.
I gotta say, if I was you, I would definitely I'd definitely stay with Staylock instead of Dubnik. I'm just gonna say right now, I think Dubnik is too much of a head case.
Well, I think
Right.
that's all goalies.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but he gets in like uh we well, so we're like most of us are like Abs fans, so we've seen we've played Dubnik so many times that like we've I just think he gets way too much in his head. I think it just like kind of what you were saying earlier is that what you try to do is to really try and forget about maybe that one goal or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think Dubnik has the actual the maybe the know-how or the the skills to kind of forget about it. So that's my opinion on Dubnik.
Well, the one problem with being a high paid NHL goalie is that you miss a play, you're fucked, and that's your salary on the line. So that's normally a trade date. So I can
Right.
understand why it's a little bigger.
Very good call. Very. I mean, I see it. I feel it. Speaking of which, Bryce, I believe you had a question about hashtag I lit the mask. Bryce, you're on
Right.
mute, buddy.
We didn't want to hear you anyways.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, shots fired.
Bryce,
I'm
Bryce,
just gonna sand it. Is what she said. Just full sand.
Yeah, no, I do have a question. Yo, jeez, let me at least take the fucking mute button off before you say anything. But no, yeah, I do have
True,
a
true.
I did have a question about that. Just in terms what's been going on just lately in the world, how important mental health is. It doesn't matter if you have an issue going on, but just speak upon of what Lift the Mask is and going upon of getting help for your mental health as just as an athlete. Just kind of speak upon that for us if you can.
Of course. So Lift the Mask is a part of the Goalie Guild. Justin is the founder and is an amazing human being. I found him through just because I've been struggling with my mental health ever since I was told at 16 that I wasn't supposed to snowboard anymore. I think we all go through some sort of that. Doesn't matter really how it happens, if it's injuries or, being told by a scout that you're just not good enough. I don't know how it goes, but being told that something you worked your whole life for and what you built your life around, and then having one day be told that that's not your identity anymore is definitely something that it's hard to overcome. It's really like dealing with the loss of a person. So I've been going to therapy for a while now, and at the time I used to think of it as that I was a weak person, and that, being a tomboy, I always wanted to keep up with everybody, and that was showing my emotions and making me into this weak girl. So for me, it was one of those things that I had to come to terms with, and now I don't know what I would do without it, because there's dark thoughts, I think, for everybody, especially now when we're so closed off and so far away from people, that it's so hard to come back from your own personal thoughts, just because we're with ourselves 24/7, right? Like, you don't get a break from your own mind. So it's nice to have somebody be able to help you kind of sift through the pieces. So with Lift the Mask, we help goalies in particular, which there's other great foundations that help with all players. But they specifically look for goalie assistance, but we help pay for any mental health services that you may need. So for some goalies, it's finding a therapist. For some people, it's finding, a group. And for other people, it might be, a getting it back in the gym and finding somebody else that way. So it's pretty much finding the way to kind of unravel what we consistently are telling ourselves every day. Um, so it's kind of a nice way to get out of the dark space that we're all in. And we're seeing an uptick with it with, the youth coming in because they've had social media their whole lives. So you can't really get away from the bullying or, trolling as it is. So it's working on everything, So I'm getting kind of emotional, but
Oh,
it's one of those things that like people are so afraid that it's going to make it so that you're like I was, where it's demasculating or it makes you look weak. And like really getting help is one of the biggest things that we can do. I work with vets too. So I've worked with tons of people with PTSD and helping them get out of their own heads too. It's one of these things that it's underutilized and underappreciated. And finally, I think it's becoming a big thing. It's made its way into the NHL now, where most of the goalies have a hashtag same here. Because we've all been there. We all know what you're going through.
No,
And it may
exactly.
not be.
I 100% agree with what you said there, all of it. I mean, even if you don't have a problem, I would advise anybody to go get some help and just talk to somebody. But as an athlete, I can definitely understand where there's certain aspects of a sport that can be pretty hard to handle. Whether if you want to do on your own or by yourself, you always have help. And so I think what you're doing right now is a great advocacy for not only people but hockey and athletes as well.
I mean, one of the other big things that I think a lot of athletes are facing nowadays is overtraining. Is actually become to the point of where we're actually comparing it to um, bulimia and anorexia. Is that
Now, let me ask a question. Is that due to people exercising more than what they should be exercising at, or is that a um kind of more of a regimen where people are eating, or is that more of a workout type of issue?
it's actually all the above. So normally with athletes, it's overtraining. So they're on the ice for 3 to 5 hours a day, and then they're in the gym for another 2 hours, and then they're watching video, right? So like it's constantly going around in their brain. So it's it's like a drug in a weird way. And then it's also, they're not eating as much because they're on the ice or doing, it's with a lot of sports. They're talking about it in football too, that people are doing 2 days, and then their eating is going downhill because they don't want to eat enough because they want to make weight or whatever. Um, One of my friends that works with the UFC, they were talking about that some of theirs are like some of the athletes were only eating apples and training, 3 to 4 times a day. Like it's one of these things that's being overlooked because everybody's a paid athlete, but it's definitely one of the things that's coming in large because it's an addiction.
Perfect. And I think, with Ross being back on, you have a segue and a question on kind of the same topic. If Ross, you're back on, you want to ask that.
well, no, I just was going on a thing that's saying that it's just beautiful that you can go and see your own person or therapist, and you take those tools and you help other people, may it be vets or whatever, with your lift the mask, and just helping them, like not in being in like kind of your aspects of life, but just kind of twisting it to where it helps them in multiple aspects of everybody else's life. And that's just an awesome thing to just go out and just do that, and just to be able to have those tools to make your life just ultimately better.
Right.
Especially in these trying times, for sure.
I mean, that's definitely why, Lift the Mask does have ambassadors, is because they have, I mean, there's college kids, there's, college athletes, Goalie Style, and there's pro athletes, and there's doctors that are all a part of the advocacy. So you can reach out to any one of them and get help, or like they can reach out to me, and just, if you want to talk about something that you're going through, like, I'm more than willing to listen. Like, everybody gets so shocked that on my Instagram that I'm always responding, but it's like, that's what I'm here to do. Like, I understand that being in the public eye also means that I do have to have a responsibility of being a role model, and also, listening to people when they have to say something.
And that could be just like it could be their last kind of, means of trying to reach out to somebody too. And that can be just fucking huge, dude. And hats off to you for doing that and just being diligent on that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Honestly, couldn't agree anymore. I mean, I've done I think we've all been in that situation once or twice in our lives. I mean, where it is it just, everybody seems so far away, but it's truly it's not the truth. There are people out there who care about you and are willing to help. So that's an incredible message. I love it.
I agree 100% with everything everyone said just there. I
Nailed
do.
it.
I do.
Thanks, Bryce.
So speaking of people being there and being a part of the sport, you and another Instagram influencer, I guess you can call it. I don't know. I don't really like that name, I guess, but you've gotten to be really good friends with another hockey Instagrammer out there. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, how you guys met and how really the game of hockey has influenced your friendship?
I mean, we started on a team together, and she's another tattooed girl, so normally I always flock to unique women for some reason. But we had that bond already, and luckily we had that bond already, because her being a Ducks fan really, grinds my gears. But
Oh, easy. From Anaheim. Golly, that hurts.
Your team's named after a Disney movie, so that's
Hey,
awesome.
at least we have a cup, sister. At least we got a cup, sister. Back off.
Oh, there's gonna be a fight.
The knuckle puck, though.
Yeah.
Hey, that knuckle puck is gold. Got me out of a lot of hairy situations, especially in Nam. I'm kidding.
Especially if we have time to plan a flying V.
Yeah, give that a shot.
Yeah,
Should
that
work
was
out really well.
all those flying V goals were totally offsides, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm glad you finally noticed, Cody. I'm kidding.
I just gotta say that I think that's what bugs me the most about those movies, is that, like, there are so many, like, actual rules in hockey that would anyways, back to Cali. Cali, continue.
Oh, okay, just one point. I just can't believe that they let a girl get on there with figure skates and nobody noticed. But anyways, back to I mean, it's kind of noticeable, but whatever. So we actually both found each other, and then we both actually decided that we were going to do hockey only related Instagrams, just because we were kind of annoying our regular friends with our hockey related stuff on our normal pages. So so we wanted to reach our own, weirdos. So we ended up making our own web pages. But I think honestly 100%, I never would have found her without hockey. She is antisocial, so I had to force my way into being her friend. Um, so like I kept bugging her, and then finally when quarantine hit, like we were all we had, because luckily we had been around each other so long that it was just like we just ended up finding other ways to play hockey. So it created this bond that I don't think is ever going to change. Just because she's my perfect weirdo. She gets my goalie weirdness, and I think that she needs to be a defenseman so that we can actually we can have that real bond.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, the only reason why I've ever met Daniel was because of hockey, and I mean, oh, that's the only reason why I know Bryce or Ross too, is basically from hockey. So I think we can all really speak to that. That I mean, hockey does really cement a friendship in ways that I don't think any other thing could really do
It's
that.
like a lifelong club and a lifelong sport that if you happen to play the sport, you just happen to be around that nice round table just based on respect for playing the sport.
Yeah.
Nope, I 100% agree. Wasn't for hockey, I wouldn't know most of my friends that I actually hang out with still. So here we are 20 years later. I've got new guys that I hang out with and know and love now. So thanks, hockey.
For me, it's even deeper than that, though. Like, I have met some of my greatest friends too, just by bumping into people at the Shark Tank, or being a Sharks fan at the pond. Like, you end up finding new people that you probably wouldn't have met either. Like, I've met people that are high up at Facebook and Google that are now my friends, and then it's I never would have met them normally.
Well, tell us about that. I mean, have you worked with somebody lately through maybe yoga or just your exercise regimen, maybe hockey, that you've really changed their life upon, where they might have said to you, "Thank you for doing this for me because I've changed because of it."
I mean, I think in general, I only do the work that I do because I want to help people get better. Like, normally I won't take on clientele that just wants to lose 10 pounds or look good naked, because I feel like everybody does look good naked regardless. It's all about
Thank you. I'm kidding.
It's all about your perception, right? It's all about perspective. It's about how we see each other. And that's one of the biggest things that I tell most of my clients, is that you have to love yourself now before you're ever going to see the results that you want to see. So if you want to see speed and you want to see all that stuff, you have to appreciate your body for all that it does now before because even when you get it, you won't ever appreciate it, because it's that never ending goal. But I've helped multiple people. I had a player on my team that actually ended up having a stroke, and he is now back playing on our team, and they were worried that he probably wouldn't be able to walk again. So, I mean, everything can be done. It's just the human mind, which is where you have to start normally, is, the will always has a way.
I love how you said that. I agree with that 100%.
And
100%.
honestly, you haven't seen me naked, so don't just
Yeah.
generalize too much. But no, yeah, that's an incredible answer.
You're a
What's that,
perfect
bro?
creation of your mother and your father, whether you want to believe it or not.
Holy hell, have you seen my mother and father? I'm kidding.
No, it's
Hey, let's
incredible
compare
outlook.
now.
Hey, you guys are lucky this video is not on right now. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, we'd be breaking hearts and breaking cameras all around the US of A. No,
That goes all
easy
on
there.
YouTube views.
It sounds like being in a locker room. Old
God.
balls.
Oh my God.
The last thing you want to hear about is
That's
locker
guys.
room talk. It's much different than locker room talk, I'd imagine.
Hey, Sonny, is that the guy with the old balls?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, I love Big Daddy.
Well, welcome to On the Bench with Beaks, where we just get naked.
Yes, welcome, Cali.
Hey, I'm the one that said it.
That's a good point.
That's true.
Oh well, I'll tell you what, man. Can you speak to other people like, especially in you've probably been to Anaheim's barn and Los Angeles Kings barn. You've probably met Sharks fans there. Is it like it's I mean I think for us it's the same, but like you just see that other person wearing a Sharks jersey, and you just get that automatic, yeah buddy, you and I were in it together. You ever how do you feel about that?
So far I have only a couple marked off because COVID hit before I could do my trip this year. But I mean, one of my really good friends, he is in Florida and I've never met him, but we've become super close over Instagram and stuff. And he has a clothing line that is Sharks related only. So it's always been kind of weird because it's like, you live in Florida, like why the fuck do you like the Sharks? And it was just like one of those things where his parents bought him a hat that was a Sharks logo and he just rolled with it. So it's just crazy, the camaraderie that you can find even in different cities.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, the lucky thing is if you ever get to go down to Florida, I'm sure the game's going to be like $15 for a ticket.
I mean,
Right?
it was empty.
I was gonna say they might upgrade you just to make it look better on the TV, quote unquote. No, they've actually done that with my mom's cousin's husband. He had season tickets, and they just kept on putting him down in the lower bowl.
Hey, man, you gotta
Sometimes.
you gotta sell your product. Which stadiums are you most looking forward to going to then?
Let's see. I mean, I really want to go to Colorado. That's been a big one. It sounds really weird, but I really want to go to Madison Square Garden. I think that that's one of the ones that's for everybody is a big deal. I've already been to Detroit.
That is not weird.
Which for Detroit, I didn't get to go to the original, but the new one is definitely, it's impressive. And the weirdest one that I didn't think I would appreciate as much was Columbus. Like their rink was so much fun, and they had like beer league hockey on the outside of it. So like we got to watch a game before a game. It was super cool.
No, that's awesome. So they just have like a rink right outside of it that you can just that you walk through.
Yeah, like it's connected to it. So like there's stands and everything. So like it's like a rink within a rink. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Huh.
Wow, yeah, you would think at least that would you'd see that in Canada before Columbus.
Yeah, I haven't anywhere in Canada is my next goal, but I have never been to Canada.
We'll
Oh
let
well,
you in. You sound pretty cool.
yeah, you got the Canadian okay from our resident
There we
Canadian.
go. I do
Yeah,
love me
you
some
seem
fruit
okay.
juice.
It's tougher to tick off a lot of those in Canada in one road trip, though, because we're pretty spread out with our rinks across the country.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
that's one of the goals I've always had too, Cali, is to kind of hit up every arena. And I've always wanted to try to go when my team was on the same road trip that would like see them on the East Coast and not only hit up MSG, but the Garden and all the other close rinks by there just off like the opportunity. It seems like a cool way to go to Boston if I have to go to Boston.
Oh my God. Boston was one of my favorite places ever.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And 100%, I will tell you this from my experience. They chirp a lot, but it definitely wasn't as bad. The worst experience at a rink I've had so far was at Staples. Like, they are the most horrific
Oh, burn that place to the ground.
They're the most horrific fan base when you're an opposing team. But
Oh,
like
yeah.
a rivalry team.
I
like
feel like it's Philadelphia.
I don't know. I went to the Penn Stadium when I went up to the hall and saw a game at the Air Canada Center at the time. But yeah, went and saw one in the PPG Center. They were terrible. I was just barely cheering for the Sabres, and 4 fans just up and left. And the game wasn't even like halfway over, just because I was behind them cheering for the Sabres.
But the Flyers fan song is
No, that's
that's
the
so
Hawks.
annoying.
That's the Hawks there, buddy.
That's a Flyers.
No,
It's not.
that is not.
No, that's Blackhawks,
You
my
sure?
friend.
Yeah, positive.
Either way, they both
I'm
suck.
not
there
even
for
positive.
9 years,
I
but
am a yeah.
for sure.
Either way, they both suck.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Nice chirp, bud. Nice chirp. That'll get you on the jump.
The
on
thing
some
that I
chirps for
like
sure.
is when you're trying to get playoff tickets and some teams are savvy enough to prevent zip codes from outside of the city being
Oh yeah.
so like
Yeah.
Hawks fans couldn't go to series games against St. Louis because St. Louis was like, no, screw Hawks fans. You guys are dicks all the time. We're not letting you come down here. Yeah, we got enough people in
Oh.
our fan base to fill the stadium. So it's kind of funny when like the franchises play games like that. It's like, no, we don't need your fans. No, we're gonna be fine. You stay away. We hate you.
You gotta.
Well,
It's a little bit of gamesmanship, man. You gotta win the cup somehow.
right.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
But yeah, speaking of Colorado, if you ever want to, I know Cody'd probably be down. I'm down. We've got season tickets, so I mean,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
yeah.
You gotta. Plus, you gotta sign our on the bench with Beaks banner. We like to have
That's
everybody
that's truth.
who's on the show sign
That's
the
true.
banner. So
Well, and unless they
But-
tell us no, my team is supposed to be headed out there for the Paps Pond Hockey. So.
Yeah, I wanted to do that too. Have you done it before?
No, I have not.
Me either. I was really looking forward to doing it this year too. Before
Where's it located at, guys?
it's in Evergreen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It is. They have. Well, last year they put up boards around, so you have like these half sheets of ice that are pretty much pond hockey. So you can play pond hockey there. You can skate around. You can do whatever you want to. Figure skate. It's pretty cool.
It's also a fun party.
It is a fun party.
I mean, that's normally why you go
my
to
God.
tournaments.
Duh.
absolutely.
There's a way higher likelihood that I can have a good time partying than I'm gonna win a game. So I put my goals in the right places, and then I'm never disappointed. You know?
That's why you have beer league.
Oh,
That's
sounds
right.
like
Have
a
beer
typical
That's a
league.
boy.
smart man right there.
It sounds like you
Oh,
could
well,
be
Ca-
talking hockey or you could be talking about a bedroom. I'm not sure.
Oh
I
shit.
think we like what if I'm talking about both? Who knows?
50-50. You got it. Away she goes, bud.
Like,
Yeah.
Hey, I've got good.
it might
stick
be a
handling.
water bed.
Oh God.
Well,
Hey,
all boys have
Carl.
good stick handling. They've had a lot of practice.
Oh, hey,
Jesus.
well, Oh yeah.
As long as you have
Sweet.
balance, right?
That's what it's all about. Good stick
Sure,
handling.
you've only
and,
been playing hockey a
drive.
few years. Your chirping degree is very good.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's up
your
there.
locker
God.
room hangs with the best.
You forgot I liked hanging out with boys my whole life. I've learned real quick.
Oh my God.
That's a good point.
But
Yeah, all right.
sometimes, and also sometimes when they have their stick handling skills, they become ambidextrous. I mean, there
Most
you
of them
go.
are. Most are righty.
Well, let's not talk about holding the stick quite yet. What I want to say is thanks for joining the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Well, yeah, I gotta say, this has been a great time. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and chatting.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And before we sign off here, do you want to give any shout outs to anyone, or you want to plug some social media or anything like
Of
that?
course.
Mm.
Shameless self promotion. So you can find
All
me
day.
at TeenyTendy on Instagram, or my personal training one is Coach California. And then shout out to Bender Butte. I love her. I'm bummed that she won't come on, but she's a good human and you should follow her too.
All right, so let's just start our shout outs real quick. Ross, what do you got first?
Well, once again, the fans and friends, family. Also, thank you, Cali, for coming on. It was fun talking to you. Also, want to kind of mention with some of my friends out in California, you do have your training company, and the website is fitbycalifornia.com.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you guys want to check her out, get some training in or some rehab, do it. So,
Yeah.
and also my Beer Nation and Dog Nation, I'd like to say thanks.
What do you got, Daniel?
Just want to say thank you to Callie for coming on, of course, and sharing your stories and telling us more about the initiatives that you're behind. I think they're all very important, and it was great to talk to you about both the physical and mental sides of hockey so much. So I also want to give a big shout out to our listeners. We really appreciate all of your support. You know where to find us on social media, and to our sponsors as always. So thanks so much.
What you got, Bryce?
Unmute
Callie,
yourself.
we're good here. We are good here. No, Callie, thank you so much for hopping on and having your input, especially on the sport of hockey, being a fit person, and of course, mental health. Big shout out to my friends, family, My Beer Nation, and Dog Nation as usual. Thanks again for hopping on, Callie. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that says it. Thank you so much, Kelly. We had so much fun, and hopefully we can have you back here soon. And thank you to hashtag Lift the Mask for all they're doing
Oh yeah.
with mental health, and thank you to everybody who tunes in every week. So without further ado, Vihosh,
A bientôt.
Salute.
La Vida's in.
and that's a wrap.